Hello and welcome to Pop and Scott Talk Baseball. We're in the now officially well into the off season now. Rumors and speculations running wild. The award season has officially started, and I think Pop, you have some news on that for us. But what else do you have for us today?
Well, I have a list of the Gold Glove winners, and there was 20 Gold Glove winners, and out of the 20 Gold Glove winners, there was about 14 or something brand new ones. So,
Okay.
First time ones. I just have to bring this up. I meant to bring it up last week with this World Series over, and I forgot. I walk in the mall in the mornings. I walk a couple of miles in the mall. They open it for mall walkers, and I get my exercise that way. Well, they hired a new cleaning guy about 6 weeks ago. And he was a retired gentleman. He came in cleaning the place, and he wore a Yankee hat. Well, we used to chat with him and all that stuff. So the World Series started. He's wearing his Yankee hat. The Dodgers won the first two games. I went in there walking. He's wearing an L.A. Dodger hat. So then the Yankees won a game, and I come in there. He's wearing a Yankee hat again. So then the Dodgers won the series. So the next day, he was wearing his Los Angeles hat. So the other day I went in there and he was wearing his Yankee hat. So I couldn't stand it. I had to walk over there and we chatted a little bit anyway. I walked over there and I said, "How come you wore the Dodger hat after the?" He said, "I'm a Yankee fan, but he said, I'm a Yankee fan. I'll wear the Yankee fan unless it's the World Series again." I said, "Well, you're going to have to buy some more hats if they play anybody else." But anybody else, he said, but every time they won, whoever team won, he wore that hat. But anyway, that was part of it. The other thing, we had another baseball player passed away, Joey Jay. He was 89 years old. I remember watching him pitch when I was a kid and hearing him on radio. He was the first little leaguer to make it to the major leagues. And that's pretty too. He pitched for Atlanta. He pitched for Milwaukee, Cincinnati mainly. When he was signed in 1952. He was 18 years old, and he signed for a $20,000 salary and a $50,000 bonus in 1952. He had a lot of injuries. He was big and strong, and he could fire that ball, but he had a lot of injuries, so it curtailed his career. Garrett Cole is staying with the Yankees. He decided to stay with the Yankees, but he didn't get the extra year he was asking for. So he's still on the 4-year contract that he was on originally. Aaron Boone, they took up Yankees exercised their 1-year extension on him. A lot of Yankee fans wanted him fired because he lost the World Series. And I'm thinking, only 2 people made it to the World Series.
Right.
And you want to fire one of them?
Right.
Really? I mean, that 5th inning, that everything blew up. He wasn't playing center field when he dropped the ball. He wasn't playing shortstop when the guy spiked it. He wasn't pitching when the guy had a brain hemorrhage and could never covered first base. Garrett Cole didn't cover first. It wasn't his fault. They didn't, it's just, here's something. Maybe you better look at Cashman because he's the one that put the players on the field. Now, granted, they could have played a little better, but Cashman's the one that put the players on the field. So, who knows? Anyway.
There are people that are asking for him to get fired, too. I've
sure. Yeah. And Schilt, the manager that used to be with the Cardinals that went to the San Diego last year, he got a 2-year extension because getting them to the playoffs, he did a great job.
Right.
And Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs, he signed with the Angels for 1 year for $2.5 million. Wilson Contreras, remember the Cardinals catcher that got every time he turned around he was breaking something because he was getting hit or something?
Yeah,
they're going to move him to first base. He's going to be there.
How's he get hit with bats there?
Yeah, he's moving to first base.
Wow, that's such a good arm. He's got one about him and his brother Willen.
Oh, yeah, outstanding.
They're cannons, man, and man, it's such a quick release. Wow.
Cleveland signed Austin Hedges to a 1-year deal. He's a pitcher.
He's been around a little bit now.
Philadelphia, they promoted an assistant general manager to general manager in their office, and it's Preston Mattingly, Don Mattingly's son. So he is now the general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. Shohei Ohtani is the Dodgers have said that it'd be, since he had to have that shoulder operation because he did a lot more damage to it than he said at first, shouldn't even have been playing. But he's going to have surgery, so he will not be pitching at the beginning of the season. They don't know when he'll be starting to pitch, but it's going to be a while. The other thing about Ohtani, talking about the money that he's being paid and everything. Well, this first year with the Dodgers, with the TV contracts with Japan and Korea and other Southeast Asian, Australia, New Zealand, they have contracts with a bunch of countries to show the games because of Ohtani. And the advertisement that he brought in, all the memorabilia that's being sold worldwide, he generated for the Los Angeles Dodgers $120 million in 1 year. So if he can do that in 7 years, his contract is paid for.
Right.
And if it's $120 million every year, so is his Yamamoto's. So, yeah. I mean, that's how much money he's generating. And the Japanese pitcher, Roki Sasaki, has put his name in the hat. Right-handed pitcher. He's only 23 years old. Now, this is my understanding. I tried to do a little research on it. It was kind of hard, but he throws like a 97, 98 mile an hour fastball, but he has control problems. That's the only thing. He's got control problems. The two teams they think he's going to go to, and every team can bid on it, but the two teams they think it'll be down to would be San Diego and the Dodgers.
I know there's a couple of power hitters too that are I've heard that might be coming over as well. So it looks like Japan League is starting to be another minor league system for the MLB, which is fine. I mean, I want to see the best players in the world playing. And I mean, I can't wait till we start seeing Italians and Australians coming over for their professional leagues. Right?
Well, and they have started to play Little League baseball and club baseball all over the world now in countries that never tried it before. They've started it. There's a few African nations playing baseball now because the kids like to play it. It's a fun game to play for kids. Reggie Jackson stepped down from his front office job with the Houston Astros. I'll tell you how interested I was in that this year. I didn't know he was with the front office.
Didn't either.
Until I saw he stepped down. I said, what was his job? Would he turn on the lights on? What did he do? Push the chairs under the desk? I have no idea. Oh, and this is just me. There's a lot of speculation where Soto's going. And you and I will talk about the free agency when it becomes real. The speculation junk is baloney. But I'm going to speculate, if I may. If I may. I just have
all that being said, let me speculate.
This is just my own feeling. If he gets I don't know how many years, I don't care. If he gets $50 million a year, he already made $30 million a year this year with the Yankees. Now, the Yankees can give him $50 million a year and it won't cost him but $3 million because they got rid of $17 million with Rizzo. So the $17 million with Rizzo gets you to $47. So you add $3 million to it, and you got to $50 million. So I'm kind of thinking he might stay with the Yankees because he likes it in New York. So I'm thinking he might stay with the Yankees, get his $50 million, and hey, it had a $17 million. But at least for the first year, it'll be $3 million extra, counting what Rizzo was making.
It's come out that he's not going to play for the Yankees, but well, you know,
you hear all that junk. But I just
you know who his agent is, so it's like we can't believe anything.
Well, I mean
after what Ohtani did to Full, and I think to get a few extra million on his contract, I don't trust anything until I see it. So
Yeah,
when they did that crap where he was seen flying into Toronto and he never left his house.
Yeah, he was still on his couch.
Right. That hey, bravo on that move. That was a hell of a chess move.
And that's why I don't have a whole lot more news, because there's just not a whole lot. And I'm not going to, I love it. I pull up the internet and the first thing will say, oh, proposed trade between the Mets and somebody else. And all it is speculation. There's nothing to it. So there's no point. Yeah. I do have a list of the Gold Glove winners. In the American League, there are 10. There's 10 in each league. And because they have a utility player in each league. So there's 10 in each league. And in the American League, there's 8 first-timers out of the 10. Wow. The 2 that are not first-timers both play for the Cleveland / Indians, Guardians / Guardians. That's Andres Jimenez, who's the best. When I watch this kid play second base, he's the best I've seen. He is one of the best second basemen fielding the ball I've ever seen in my life. The guy is phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's who that was the trade for Lindor from the Mets.
Yeah. And the other one is the left fielder Stephen Kwan. Yeah. They were the 2 that got it last. They had it last year. Now, so first base, Carlos Santana of the Minnesota Twins. Second base is Jimenez with Cleveland. Shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals. Third base, Alex Bregman with the Houston Astros. The pitcher is Seth Lugo of the Kansas City Royals. The catcher is Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners. The right fielder is Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox. Center fielder, Dalton Varsho of the Toronto Blue Jays. And then utility is Dylan Moore of the Seattle Mariners.
I believe Dalton Varsho also came up as a catcher. So that if I'm right, that's a hell of a.
Yeah, you can come up as a catcher and then you get the Gold Glove in center field.
Right.
It's Dale Murphy stuff.
That's also Biggio
stuff. Yeah. Now in the National League, they had 6 out of the 10 are first-time winners. The first baseman who's won it before, excuse me, is Christian Walker of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And there's some more rumors flying around that he's going to the Yankees as a free agent to play first base. The second, okay, sneezes. I got the sneezes. Second base is Bryce Turang of the Milwaukee Brewers. The shortstop is Ezekiel Tovar of the Colorado Rockies. Here's another guy. I saw the Rockies play about 4 games this year, 3 of them against the Nationals. And that guy made plays. How does he get to that ball? It was amazing.
Well, he's the only one of the Rockies that can do anything.
Well, their center fielder, Brenton Doyle, got a Gold Glove too. So they had 2. That's not bad for the one organization. Third base was Matt Chapman of the San Francisco Giants. The pitcher was Chris Sale of the Atlanta Braves. The catcher, Patrick Bailey of the San Francisco Giants. Right field, Sal Frelick of the Milwaukee Brewers. Center field, Brenton Doyle of the Colorado Rockies. Left field, Ian Happ of the Cubs. And utility, Jared Triolo of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And those are your Gold Glove winners. And, of course, the ones that are on the teams that are a little less well-known, you don't see them as much because the networks, let's face it, the weekends that the Yankees and the Boston Red Sox play each other, the networks fight to get those games because that's a big rivalry. And they know the ratings will be high. But I was glad to see so many new winners of Gold Gloves. That shows you a lot of these younger players coming up. They're faster, stronger, bigger, quicker. It's just it's amazing.
A lot of times you have to, with these writers, you have to build a reputation before you actually get awarded. So I kind of applaud them, the voters, for recognizing.
Well, maybe they didn't just go by reputation; they actually looked at tape.
Right. Yeah. Now you can see every game. So now if you don't watch them tonight, you can watch them the second day. That's how I watch them on YouTube.
Well, I mean,
like 10 minutes.
I was sitting in the chair last night going to sleep, and the Virginia game was still in the third quarter. So I went to bed because I went to church this morning, taught the kids and everything. And I went to bed, got up this morning, and watched the highlights.
Yeah, it was on late. I didn't.
The game didn't start till 8.
Yeah.
They were playing in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So.
And I was watching in Alabama. They started at 10 minutes to 8, and that game was still in the third quarter. So, but anyway, I did. That's why I'm wearing my Virginia hat. They won a football. When they win a football game, I jump all over the house because it's just. But I will say this:
the Louisville game is going to haunt them, I think. Though.
I will say this: that those kids play hard for that coach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all you can ask. And
he adjusts. He makes adjustments. Yeah.
They talked to one of the star players on defensive back. He may even make it in the pros on special teams because he's one of those. What do you call him? The bullet or whatever, run down the field.
Yeah.
But anyway. They were interviewing him, and they asked about the coach, and he said, well, you couldn't ask for a nicer group of coaches. They, instead of hollering and screaming at us, they sit there and explain to what we did wrong, what they want us to do, and that, and they just And he said, you want to play hard for these guys, you just do. And he said, I think that this coach, if they leave this staff together, they're going to do something pretty good in the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, you got to figure there was three of their players were murdered. Shot just 2 years ago, and they had to come back from the ashes of that and build a program. So, I mean, you get I'm not sure about any of the dates, what's coming up for MLB. I didn't check any of that.
Yeah, last year I was all over that.
And we'll know next week.
Yeah, I had a rough week, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, you hurt your back at work and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I mean,
and your stepmother's her back went out, so I've been taking care of that. Had to put tires on my truck so it'll pass inspection and all that junk. So my 21-year-old truck.
It's just getting warmed up. So I'll start looking up some more things. So been keeping myself busy and trying to keep my back loose, but I really like the recognition of the Gold Glove because we put such an emphasis, and as in the sports world, on the hitting side of the game, that I really like the Gold Glove because you have to recognize players, and they have stats now. How many runs a player saves? It's part of the war. The glove. That's glove.
When they talk about, like in the playoffs and that, they talk about pitching and then they talk about hitting, and then they kind of throw in, well, this is a very good defensive team. It's kind of like an aside,
right? And
I mean, like the Indians have an excellent defensive team.
Yep.
And so that defense kept them in games, in a lot of their games. So
it's hard to get a ball down on them. You hit it in the air, you better drive it, and through the infield. I mean that defense makes their pitching staff look a lot better.
Exactly.
And they play in a ballpark that plays to that as well. So it's built good. It's built with the money. It's cheaper to buy defense than it is to buy hitters. I mean, that chicks dig the long ball. Glavine and Smoltz said that a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Or Maddox and Glavine said it a long time in a commercial. So.
Yeah, I remember that. Chicks dig the long ball. Now everybody digs a long ball.
Yeah, and we're so just fixated on that. So I looked at who the finalists were, and I was really impressed. And it's just like you telling me that Wilson Contreras is going to first. Kind of surprised me because
he's not so much behind the plate. He's not doing them any good.
But he's not a great hitter. What makes him a great player is his catching. Part of that is his own doing, reaching for the ball. A lot of these catchers, we talked about it on one show one week, that these catchers, that interference was higher this year than any year before because they're trying to get the ball at the closest point that they can before,
And snatch it into the strike zone.
Yeah, and all this bull crap that it must be working because the umpiring is worse. This was probably the worst year. And I know that we got the box and all of that, and we got instant replay and YouTube and all these different things that people just scrutinize it. But now we can scrutinize it. So you got to be better. What can I say? Hernandez was bad because he was bad, not just behind the plate, but in life. He was bad. He was just bad on the field. Everything he did, he was bad at. But these guys behind the plate, they got to tighten up. I know the ball's coming in hard, fast, and moving all over the place, but you're a professional umpire just like they're professional players. You don't have another job. That's your job. There's a reason for that. So it's the only officiating that does that, I think, still to this day. But anything else, Dad, that you want to add to? Not a lot to really talk about right now. Like you said,
I think I did pretty good scrounging up what I did during the week because there wasn't much going on.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of speculation. We got some great free agents this year. Hot Stove is, around the corner here in another.
It's a lot of fun to read about the speculation, but I'm not going to sit here and say any of it's fact. It's speculation. I just said that about the Yankees because I figured out the money.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. My speculation for that was there might be a switch where I know they're talking about Christian Walker, but there's another first baseman in Queens that's looking for a home, and he's a slugger, and the Mets owner has a lot of money and not afraid to spend it. So,
he winds up with so.
They got a taste this year, and he wants a championship back. So, and I'm again, I've talked about it before last year. I'm interested to see what Washington does, if they make any moves.
Well, I've heard that Washington is going to make a pass at Soto, and they're also going to make a pass at Bregman. That's what I've
Bregman is interesting. He's got a little bit of age now. He was in the cheating scandal. I don't know how deep he was in it, but he was in it. It's going to be interesting. Other guys that were in that scandal have moved on.
Well, they've been trying to sell the team, and that because of the TV thing, where the guy that wanted to buy it wanted to move it to the NBC channel in Washington because he already has the Wizards and the Mystics on there, and he wanted to move them on there, and they just wouldn't. Baseball I don't know what the problem was. They couldn't get it. So it looks like the original owners are going to keep the team.
Right. Baltimore has to agree to that because when they moved them to that close to Baltimore has to agree. And also they're on the channel
they're on Masson with Baltimore.
Right. And I think that owner owns, one of the Masson is part owner of the Royals, or whoever, one of the owners is part owner of Masson or something. It's connected. And so they have to agree to a lot of stuff because of that. Because that was in the contract for moving them that close. Because you know how close we were to having that team in Central Virginia.
Yeah. And in Valley Sports, they've been bought out. They're under another name, and they're still having some problems. Valley Sports was going to go bankrupt if they didn't sell out. So
we'll probably, I like to look this up, or maybe even contact somebody, ask some questions, because I don't know how, if a team isn't a part owner of the channel, right? how are these contracts going to be able to keep going up because they're small, localized channels? They're not. They might be part of a larger conglomerate, but that larger conglomerate can't pay for 7 different small channels to show all the baseball games because there's so many baseball games.
Yeah.
It's not like any other sport when it comes to it. They got twice as much as any other sport. So, except auto racing, but auto racing is, on major telecasts. So, and some of these deals, especially in the large markets, are huge. I mean, LA, New York, big deals. So, but I'd like to find out more about that too. And we talked a little bit about that before because I'm sure some of that's going to come up in this off season. It does every year now, because that's how teams pay their players through these deals. So, so the fans don't have to pay $1 billion like NFL tickets for every game, trying to keep them reasonable. But if you don't have nothing else, Dad, we'll make this short and sweet today.
It's okay by me.
Enjoy our week. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. I know if you have any questions or highlight something for us to talk about in this off season, any subject matter, that'd be awesome. Trying to, in this off season, we'll start speculating ourselves. We always do. Once things start getting cooking and talked about, when players start moving, there's bigger players this year than last year moving around. So stay tuned for us talking for that. And till next time, like, share, tell a friend, subscribe if you haven't, and we will see ya.